Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started on making our map of Egypt. So taking a look at this, we are going to start off with the beginning, taking a look at the first thing that we are going to do. And the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and I'm going to change this to this size and to this. We are going to make a title, an appropriate title. So let's check mark that. And on our map, our appropriate title that we are going to be making for our map is going to be called Ancient Egypt, 2 semicolons, Landscape, and Resources. So we have included the title. So the next thing that is on our list is we are going to include a compass rose, and we need to make sure we include cardinal and intermediate directions. So I'm going to actually go ahead and do mine kind of down here in this spot right here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my cardinal directions: north, south, west, east, and now I'm going to do my intermediate directions. So here I have northeast, southeast, southwest, and then northwest. Okay, so I have included that part, which is great. The next thing that we need to do is we need to include lines of latitude and longitude. So latitude and longitude. All right, first of all, you're going to see this dotted line right here. So this dotted line over on the side, I want us to go ahead and label that. That is called the Tropic of Cancer. And then we can see this line right here. That is 25 degrees north. And then there's this other darker black line down here, and that is 20 degrees north. Now we're going to come up just a little bit to the top up here, and we can see these lines right over here. This one over here is 35 degrees east, which makes this one over here 30 degrees east. Okay, so now we have that done, and now we're going to take a look, and we are going to Number 4, use labels to show the name of the 2 regions. So our 2 regions are Upper and Lower Egypt. So over here, we are going to go ahead and write Upper Egypt. And down here, we are going to write Lower Egypt. Okay. While we're at it, I also want to go ahead and label the continents because I think that that's really important. This continent over here is Asia, and then obviously the one that we are on, I'm going to kind of label it down here, and I'm just going to put Africa down below. Okay, so we have our continents labeled. I think that that's really important. Sometimes we don't do that, but I think it should be. Okay, it says use labels to show important cities. So we're going to go ahead and do our city in blue. So I'm going to change my color here really quick. And I'm going to go ahead and do blue. And we're going to do Memphis. And Memphis is right here. So just kind of mark it up and then write Memphis. If you need me to spell it, I'll spell it over here in case you can't see it or kind of runs over. So in Memphis, we want to make sure we have that on there. All right, let's take a look at the next thing that we're going to do. So important cities, we've got that. It says use labels to show all regions' major landforms. All right, this is where we have a lot to do. So major landforms, we need to label our deserts. So that's very important. So over here we have the Western Desert. okay, on the left side of the Nile River. And over on the east side, we have the Eastern Desert. Okay, so we've got those labeled, which is great. And so now we need to do the bodies of water. Okay, so the bodies of water. All right, up here, obviously we know, and you might want to kind of move it sideways, we know that this river is the Nile River. So label that Nile River. And then this one, I'm going to just use my red just so it sticks out a little bit because of the lines are kind of marked weird. So over here, this is the Mediterranean Sea. So Mediterranean Sea. And then this one right here is the Red Sea. Okay. So that's right there is the Red Sea. And we're going to go ahead and do some coloring here in a little bit after we get everything labeled. Oh, here it is. So we are going to now start making our legend with symbols and sources and resources of the region. And we're going to be focusing on making the legend over on this left-hand side. So go ahead and write the word legend. Okay. And the first thing we're going to do is we are going to do fertile land. And we're going to do that in a green color. Okay. And so we're going to fill this in green. And we're going to go ahead and color the Nile Delta all in green. Remember, the Nile Delta is all by the Mediterranean Sea. And it's a little bit on the side. And then we're going to go ahead and color the Nile River. And you can go over this, over those words with your colored pencils. Remember, colored pencils only. Okay, we're going to go like this. Oops. Let me get that out of the way. That's kind of in the way, isn't it? Okay, we're going to color all the way around. Okay, so that we can see that all around the Nile is fertile land. Okay, so go ahead and get that nice and colored in. And then I'm going to kind of pick like a kind of like a brownish, and I'm going to mix in different colors, but a brownish, brownish yellowish kind of area. And that's going to be our rocky, hilly desert. Okay, and so it's going to be a mix. So I'm going to kind of do the yellow first, and then you're going to see that I'm going to bring in kind of like a brown as well, just to kind of make it look a little kind of like this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of brown first. It's literally going to be all over. Okay, so you'll be able to make yours nice and neat, you know, with your coloring. But we're just basically showing that the deserts are all hilly and rocky. And so I've kind of added some brown, and now I'm going to add just a little bit of this yellow to it to kind of show it being hilly and like desert-like. Okay, and I'm just going to make sure it is all colored in. So you're going to just make sure it's all colored in. I'm just doing it really lightly because mine is obviously on the computer. Yours is on paper pencil. So yours should be completely filled in with that color. Okay. All right. The next thing that we're going to do is we are going to do gold, but I'm going to make gold in the triangles. Okay, so I'm first going to do some and then I'm going to fill them in. So gold is actually going to be found over around a lot more up by Upper Egypt. So I'm going to go ahead and put some triangles in there. And then I'm actually going to really pick out like I need like a bright yellow kind of color Okay, like that. Okay. And now I'm going to go in, I'm going to color those in to show the gold in my triangles. Okay. It doesn't mean that it was limited there, but gold was also found throughout. And now we're going to go ahead and add some copper because that was another thing that was found. And we're going to go ahead and make copper kind of be like I kind of like it like a orangish kind of color. Okay. So we're going to make it be like an orangish color. So I'm going to pick a black here, and I'm going to go ahead and put some copper on here. And I'm going to put copper up or down here, kind of by a couple here by the deserts. And then I'm going to put one up by Memphis. And now I'm going to color those in with orange. Like that. Okay. And now I think we should have the symbols done. And now we're going to write a description about, there you can see the whole map. We're going to write a description about the climate. So we're going to say the climate of ancient Egypt was hot with very little rain. Okay, so it was hot with very little rain. Again, you can pause this video at any time if you need to go back in and mark anything. One other thing that I would recommend is let's kind of lightly shade the seas, the Mediterranean Sea and the Red Sea. Okay, just very lightly with blue. Okay, that way we can really see that they are the seas. We're not going to do that with the Nile Delta because we really want that to show that it is the fertile land.